And welcome to Elevated Mindset. My name is David. We have
Austin.
And today we have a really special guest. It's my wife.
Gaby.
Yeah, so it's exciting. So if you clicked on this video, obviously I'm sure you saw the title. We decided to mix it up a little bit. We've been praying on this for quite a while and just talking about realer subjects and really just dive into them, but with a lot of prayer and a lot of grace, and make sure that we don't make it, I feel like, something that's just coming after people. I feel like it's something that's something we can basically grow from. I feel like is like the most important way that we approach it. So the title, I believe we kind of talked over, it was going to be, do you remember it, Austin?
No.
You don't remember it?
Happy wife, happy life,
There it
reigning
is.
future generations.
Yes. I didn't want to say it, honestly.
Yeah. I thought about I was like, is that the one? Is
Yeah.
it? I don't know.
We have like a few on the docket, actually. I'm pretty excited for our lineup. Just getting more, I feel like, out there of topics that are going on and stuff. So happy wife, happy life mentality kind of ruin future generations. So without further delay, here, let's do this. I know we already prayed beforehand, but let's just do a quick prayer. Just for, if you're watching, like, just pray for some grace and some, make sure that we do this right. So, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much, God, and we thank you for the person on the other side as well, Lord, for them finding this powerful message, Lord. But we pray, Lord, that we would both meet each other and we would meet with you, God. We pray, Lord, for your guidance during these subjects, Lord. We pray for your love to be present, Lord, and we pray for your wisdom, and we pray just that this would be, that we would do this just to honor and praise you, Lord. We thank you, God, in Jesus Christ, and we pray. We also pray, Lord, but for a moldable heart, Lord. We pray, Lord, that whatever we're meant to take away, that we would, in Jesus Christ, and we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. So, there's so much to this, and I feel like, obviously, we brought in Gaby. I mean, me and you, I know we have discussions quite a bit. I feel like ours are always late at night.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like late at night. So we usually have them, and I know also
2 a.m.
Yeah. So this is a subject that we've been kind of discussing for a while, but let's just kind of jump right into it. And this is the one thing I want to say, right? So, especially because of the title, we want to make it very clear that honoring and loving your wife, that's not what we have against. Like, at all. Like, I really want to draw the line there and say that loving your wife and obviously taking her guidance into account is like an absolute must. Like, that is so important in a marriage. But the war specifically, the issue is, I feel like it's the way that it's approached. I feel like it's when men choose to take a step back, when men choose to go the path of least resistance.
I also feel like it's a lack of leadership on their end, on a men's end. Meaning...
No, please. I'm all trying to, like, go around it gently, and Gabby's like, open up!
I'm just saying.
No, this is for you.
Yeah. What I mean...
Coming, Andy.
What I mean is that if you have, like, the happy wife, happy life mentality, you're, as a guy, you're not taking charge of her happiness. She still is. She's still telling you what to do to make her happy.
So we didn't rehearse this.
At all.
And honestly, right now, you're kind of catching me off guard.
About to throw hands.
I warned you. No, but I warned you, though, man. Like, I told you, I was like, every once in a while, Gaby, like she
says
just...
something?
Yeah.
Fine.
And I'm like...
It's not an attack on you.
No. Okay. I'm gonna make sure this is known. Like, I am not perfect. If anything, I'll be real. Like, I feel like it's something in my heart to make sure it's known that I am not, and almost to go out of the way and point that out, because I feel like, because I've been around leaders so much that I look up to, and it's almost so discouraging when it feels like they have their life completely together. Like, it's just like,
The
dude,
coaches?
Yeah, or like when you're around, like, let's say strong people or something.
Oh.
Or somebody that you respect, somebody that you look up to, or somebody that you want to kind of like learn anything from. Mm-hmm. Like, if you feel like you're just on a completely different level, like the message almost misses. Like, you're like, wow, that was cool, but that's not for me.
Because you can't relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, roast me. No, I'm kidding.
No.
No.
Just press the pedal.
No, but...
We got the sound effects to ease the pain.
Can you repeat what you just said? Because honestly, that was really powerful. So.
Okay. So, the mentality, in my opinion, the mentality of happy wife, happy life is still letting men step back from leadership because they aren't taking into account of, like, what can I do to make her happy? It's like, whatever she wants, she'll be happy. Let me get her whatever she wants. So it's like you said, it's least resistance. They don't want conflict. And so, but on the woman's end, there's still a lack of leadership. And
our dogs. They're just putting their input in, that's it.
They agree.
Yeah. Preach! They're paws lifted high, dude. Just sanctified. If you've never been in our home, that's exactly what it's like. The dogs are like, when we get in like a deep sermon, dude, they're like,
They just go vertical. It's great.
There's only two. It's not a lot. There's
4
only
paws
two.
to 2 paws.
but all 4 paws are like floating.
Right.
It gets intense.
Yeah, so the woman still has to step up into telling the man her happiness, and since there's no other leadership direction, it's kind of like a, hey, this makes me happy, so do it. And they're like, okay. And it's like, hey, this makes me happy, so do it.
Yeah, because it's almost like the heart of it is, like, you care, but you don't care enough to almost try. Like, it's, you know, okay, so I really appreciate you being here, because we're going to definitely get a female's perspective. And like I said, we didn't rehearse this at all. Like, we just kind of let it be, and we've talked, but not what we're going to say, what we're going to anything. We just
There's no script.
No.
Yeah.
So I feel like for men, right, not that they need to be stand up for it, but I definitely want to share a male's perspective. There's a lot to it. And here's the thing, even though we're talking about the subject, we're not just going to bash it. It's not like, men are wrong if you do this or anything else. It's like, no, let's really understand and unpack what's going on both sides. Like, hey, why are men doing this, and why are women craving this, and what's actually happening, like all angles of it. So I feel like for men, right, like we have, like, it's almost programmed where we want to please our significant other. Like it's a lot of times, and I've told you before, you know, in the past, women, or not even women, but just in general, men are called dogs. But they're called dogs for the wrong reasons. It's like, oh, they'll chase any woman or something like that. That's why they're called dogs. But I feel like guys are dogs in a sense of that they're very easy to please, or they'll do almost anything if you tell them a good boy.
Right.
Like, if you go like, good boy, like, it lights us up. Like, it's just like, it's like, and here's the thing, this is one thing I would say, right? There's a lot of guys out there that are like, no, that's not me. Like, never ever. It's like, no, dude, you're broken. Like, you didn't have that for so long that now you tell yourself you don't need it.
In the same sense that you said, like, the guys who haven't had that in so long, say they get a thank you out of the blue.
Oh, dude, I've seen, dude. Yeah,
It throws them off.
Oh man, I've seen guys, bro. Like tough guys. Like, if you catch them on the wrong moment, or a child especially, because it's so, like, your guard is down so much, right, that they'll say something and it's just like tears, bro. But they're like,
whatever.
like fighting it back.
Whatever.
Like, well, but it's the truth though, right? Like, that nature to us of like the good boy. So almost, this is such a sensitive subject because it's men's heart. And here's the one thing I want to say, right? I don't want to speak for all men. And I don't want to put them up like, no, they're all good guys out there. It's like, no. There's some guys that made some horrible decisions. And that's something we really have to address too. Like, there's a lot to this subject. There's the reality that unfortunately there's been a lot of girls hurt out there by guys. Yeah. Like, that's a fact. Like, and if we don't even address that, like, what's up? Like, that's wrong. There's a lot of girls that's been hurt out there, and now, or it's been passed on to them that their mothers have been hurt, and they teach their daughters, right? Don't ever trust a guy. Don't ever do this, and vice versa. There's a lot of guys that do the same thing. That husbands, right, or fathers, right? They've gone through messy divorces or whatever, and then they basically passed on this mentality, this program down to them, and like it's just. Usually what I find, it's mass overcorrections. Yeah. When the answer was like right in the middle, right, that sweet spot, it's like, trust everybody. It's like no, have discernment. Trust nobody. Got it. It's like, no, it's like right here.
Yeah, because they can only see what they don't want.
Yeah, and we talk about that all the time, right? Oftentimes when it comes to parenting, we usually like learn from like, well, I just won't ever do that. Right. Like, for me, I did that for a lot of things. It's not that there's no rule book. It's not that there's no guidebook. There's a lot of stuff out there, and obviously the Bible's an incredible source. Like, I really feel like God put that together because he knows what we need best. having said that, it's so hard to look at it that way. Like, I'm older now.
I was waiting to have
You like that? I dodged it,
I
dude.
was like,
I'm in my age bracket that I'm in. But it's taken me so long for me to see the word that way. And I was talking about, I was in my word, like I was pretty young when I got in my word, but still it wasn't like that.
See it what way?
That it's God loved us so much that he put together something because he created us. Like, he knows. It's like if you build a robot, right? You know what fuel source it's going to need. Like,
Right.
you created it. Like, hey, I made you to need these things.
You know, it's all its functions and what works best.
So the Bible, oftentimes we look at it like it's like, ugh, like this rule book. Like, oh, it just wants to overbear me. First of all, let's get a few breakdown. Let's get a few things straight. You're always going to have some type of program leading you. It's you do not run with operate with a blank slate. You just can't. Just like a computer can't boot up without a core program, right? You have a Windows Vista. You have like a Windows 98. You have something, dude. You have something.
is this where we transition into AI?
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
Nope,
Just jump in.
but even then you have something, right?
Yeah.
You have something that makes you you. You have something that basically you see the world through. It's a program. You have basic understanding, certain standards, certain procedures, right? A program in which that you look at life through. But bringing it back, when it comes to that subject, right? Happy wife, happy life. The issue that we were basically discussing was, it's so funny because at the core, it's still very much like, I hope this is the end that we were able to get to, having people understand, like, no, it's very much still pleasing your wife, but in a way that even she might not know that she needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because we've talked about it before, where in a relationship, the person that can see yourself best is the other person, because we can't see ourselves. We know how we're feeling. Like, I can be washing dishes and maybe I'm thinking of something and like it says it on my face. I don't know that unless he sees that and asks me, "Hey, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh."
And vice versa.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm. And it's that mentality. So, Austin, do you have anything on this?
No, I was just gonna bring in, like, I feel like there's times where, like, I'm like deep in thought and I don't realize it, and David, like, he just walks by and he's like, "Are you okay?" I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, you
know,
see, you
I'm
don't even
just like-
realize.
I'm just like vibing, you know. But yeah,
Yeah. It's such a powerful thing to, even, let's say, even if you take that away from the podcast, right? So honestly, I was blessed with a lot of great mentorship. And one of the things that I was taught, which was really powerful, was understanding that I always loved it. And this actually came through a coaching session. Like, I was actually with somebody else and we were talking, and like, I was just able to see it differently this way. What it was understanding that companies, this always interests me, companies pay for feedback. Companies legit will pay for feedback. Hey, can you take 5 minutes and fill out a survey? Let us know how we're doing. Hey, can you fill this out? Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate our product? How would you rate our service? How would you, all this type of things.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what they don't do? Companies don't take that and then go, how dare they?
No, it's funny.
some
'cause-
of them do.
Well, okay,
Well-
fair. But do you get what I'm saying?
If you rate a Chick-fil-A survey bad, you get a free sandwich, dude. They're crying.
That's what I'm saying. They try to fix it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's not saying that it won't be hard to accept.
Right.
But understanding that it's not personal.
Yes.
Right.
I think that's a big part of maturing, is understanding that feedback doesn't have to be personal. It's just feedback. Like, you, at your core, can still be this incredible creature, but still be wrong.
And same thing in the sense of tone. Because, like, I guess the Chick-fil-A, like, say something was wrong with my sandwich, I could be up there super nice, like, "Oh, there was a hair in my sandwich. Oh, don't worry about it, free sandwich."
Right.
And then there could be the other customer who's like, "What is this? This is disgusting. I ought to sue." And they're like, "Oh, our apologies. Here's a free sandwich." Like, it doesn't matter the way it was delivered. Like you said, it was just feedback. And they don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, there's different. I mean, just like in a relationship, right? It can be like, in that analogy, right? You're doing the dishes. David comes up. "Wow, you look pissed." It's like kind of like the,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm gonna sue. There's a piece of, there's this in my sandwich," right? Like I think it's two ways, right? You can, like, how you give it, how you receive it, right? But in that instance, right, instead of, hey, wow, you look pissed, right? Then that's going to probably, it's not a,
Why would you say that?
right. As opposed to like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
And then you could say like, hey, are you okay? Like, oh yeah, I'm fine. What? Oh, you just looked a little upset. Oh, or you know what? Yeah, I kind of was thinking about this.
Yeah, so in that. So here's what we have, right? So because I want to make sure that we discuss it because there's so much to this, but it's almost like hit it step by step. So one of the things I feel like that mentality does, and the reason why that's titled that way, that ruin future generations, is because it teaches, I feel like, to look at the wrong things.
Right.
Meaning?
Yeah. So what you have is specifically males, right, in that scenario, when it's like happy wife, from my perspective, from what I've seen, it allows men to take a step back instead of step forward in their marriage. And I'm not talking about leadership. I'm talking about stepping up. What I mean is they go, well, it's better if I don't think. It's better if I'll just do whatever you say, babe. Because it's the path of least resistance. Yes, dear. Yes, babe. Uh-huh. Yeah, and they like smile at you and they're like, she's always right. And I'm just like, that's weird. Like, I don't know human being that I'm around is ever right. And also, do you understand the pressure of that? Like, you're literally taking a step out of your marriage when you just put it on somebody else.
Yeah.
So how do you respond to people that say, oh yeah, we never fight. We never fight.
Okay, cool.
Right, in that instance, right, where it's like, oh yeah. Oh, you guys seem like you're always getting along, right? Like,
I mean...
yeah, we never fight.
I feel like fighting and having, like, disagreements
Right, well,
or
yeah, I guess
conflicts
that's
are different. Because I would...
It's like, let's fight right now.
No, I love the question. I'm like marinating in it.
Because I would say that we don't fight, but that doesn't mean we get along all the time.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No, but our standards have changed, which we definitely will talk about.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. So here's the thing. It's not saying that it can't work. Does that make sense? Like a book can be a doorstop. It's not saying that it's, if you do this, that the title isn't, if you do this, you're guaranteed a divorce. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is that there's issues. Here's the thing. Okay, do pesticides get rid of bugs? Does it help?
Yes.
Okay, but there can be other issues created from that. Does that make sense?
Right.
And that's basically what the discussion is.
Like the toxic chemicals on your vegetables. It's like,
and that's
soil.
And that's what it is. Because here's the thing. Okay, so I feel like men's nature is, like, to them, like, a family is pretty important. Okay, so I'm not gonna speak for all guys because this isn't accurate, but I feel like there's a good chunk. Okay, men fight for their families, right? They wanna make this thing work. Okay, so in their mind, they quickly process. Okay, hey, what's going to make this work? Well, she's being aggressive, blah blah blah. Okay, if I take a step back, then we both win. Then we all win. She gets to be what she wants to be, and then I'll just play whatever part's left over. And everyone wins. Does that make sense?
right. So what is not taking a step back look like? And I want to hear your answer, and I want to hear your answer.
Not
Okay.
taking a step back as to what?
That. So he just said, like,
Good.
if I step back, she wins, I win.
Okay.
So as opposed to that, if an issue arises or anything, like what's the alternative? Like what?
Yeah, okay, so if not that, right, then what is the alternative?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, great question.
So like instead of me just saying, oh yeah, I'm just gonna,
Okay.
what should you do?
So it's so funny because it can look similar, but it's going to be different. So I can only speak on the path that God honestly put in my heart to do. Okay, and what it was I worked on me, and that's what I would tell guys to do. See, leadership doesn't have to be you telling somebody else what to do. Leadership is just you doing what needs to be done. So it's not always vocal that you have to be that in your marriage. Sometimes it's just the action that can take place. So because here's the thing, right? And I'm going to put myself in the blast, and I'm driving the bus that I'm about to steamroll myself over. that for so long in our marriage, I was very vocal about the things that needed to be done. But you want to know one person that wasn't doing them? This guy. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to... Why is it we? Why isn't it just me? See, that was, I feel like, when our relationship dynamic kind of really changed. And in our marriage, I really feel like grew for the better is when I started leaving her alone. See, so many times, men, we associate that position of power to be overbearing. When the reality is that leadership just means you're willing to run ahead and to help out when it's needed.
Go first.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It's that mentality. It's different, but it's also a different heart. Because here's the thing, you can also do the right action. Let's really talk about this, right? Because we bring up God here. Like this podcast, that's what we do. God looks at the heart. See, sometimes that's why this is such a sensitive subject, because you could technically be doing the right actions, but the heart is wrong, and it makes everything wrong. See, there was a lot of things that I was right on. That's something that God convicted me of. It's like, David, you're right, but you're also really wrong.
Right.
Like I was being that leader in our family, right? But I also wasn't being that leader in our family. I wasn't leading from the right heart.
Right.
My turn?
Yeah, please.
My answer to that?
Wait, we have to play a sound for... No, just kidding. A sound for his.
Yeah.
The welcome back. So.
Welcome back from a short break.
No, I think I actually agree with David in the sense of that the men need to work on themselves. Because, in my opinion, I feel like if a man is stepping down so much, they are not confident, they are scared, timid, and men can be all these things. But if God is calling you into that role, you would have to work on yourself so that you would be able to walk alongside God to lead the family in the way that it should be. Because I feel like that's why, like how you said that they were like, we need to do this, or like this needs to be done, this needs to be done, it's not necessarily telling me that, it's almost telling yourself that, and it's almost a way of looking like, can we do it together, because I'm kind of scared to go first. And sometimes that's what it is. I mean, if having a man's role, I feel like it's so hard because like they have to go first. They get put in these positions and situations and make decisions for the whole family, and it's scary.
I want to say this. I feel like it's hard. It can be hard if you're doing it right, because then you're eating your broccoli with your dessert.
It can be hard if you're doing it right.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is it's this is such a tricky thing to say. It's more work.
Yes.
It's more work to do things right. But the fruit that you get long term is worth it.
Right.
It's different. It's different quality, right? That's usually why things that taste better. It's like it takes longer. It's more prep. It's different. I can microwave a chicken, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to taste good.
But I mean, you guys could tell me, because I'm a girl. Being in power, is that like something that men crave?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was interested in your opinion.
Oh. You kidding me? Like,
Well,
I bet that's another thing where it's like, oh, no.
Yeah, okay,
like,
so if men crave that and they want to be in power, they comes along the sense of making hard decisions, like running a country.
Well, I don't think a lot of men realize that.
No, they don't.
Well, I want to lead a company, but then it's like, okay, what are you going to do if this happens?
Right.
It's the work that comes with
I
it.
got people for that.
See, here's the one thing I was saying, and honestly, I want to say this. I am so grateful for emboldened women nowadays. Like, and I mean that sincerely. And we've had talks about this. Like,
right.
they are more needed now than ever. Like,
Emboldened?
Yeah, but this is dangerous waters, right? I want to make sure this is very clear. Men are stepping down. Like, I'm just going to say this as a whole, men are stepping down. I believe life creates balance. Where one steps down, one's going to step up. Like, that's just kind of what happens. Even in science nowadays, right, there's no such thing as nothingness. Like, there's always something there.
And that's why so many women have stepped up.
Right. But also, and we've talked about this on the side, too. Like, as far as social media goes, there's a lot of guys not talking about... Like, I feel like men are... we're the defenders of truth, man. I don't know how to explain it. It's in our blood. We stand up for
Men
what's
are the
right.
defenders of truth.
That's what we do, bro. It's in our blood.
Thoughts?
No, I mean, yeah.
For me, that's
right.
I'm being honest about that. It's.
What do you think about that?
Defenders of truth?
Yeah.
It just sounds like a Justice League motto, but it's the
Defender
truth.
of truth, and then you insert some super cool
So
stuff.
so here's the thing. What I mean, right? And I think we all know this, and I'm not trying to take anything away from women, because honestly, there are some incredible women out there, and especially in leadership. There's some, man, there's something to watching a human being just work at their peak level. It's an art,
right, and kill it.
It's an art.
Right.
I'm being serious.
Right.
There's for me, it's watching a lion, it just this amazing creature of just man, this is incredible athletes, right? But in their professionals, in the professions, if you're just really in it, dude, it's inspiring. No matter what gender you're in. I don't care about that. But for reals, it's inspiring as another human being. I was watching that. I was dude, that's awesome. One of the things I wanted to say is oftentimes, though, when things hit the fan, men are the ones that are the room will look up to and be you guys need to step up. So here's the one thing I would say. Everyone wants to be a leader when things are going well.
Right.
Everyone wants to be in leadership when the company's doing good. Nobody wants to be in leadership when things are going bad. And I feel especially in the States, I feel when you look, right, especially around the world, you have empowered women, majority in countries that are doing very well. But it's because it allows people, when things start going well, right, then it goes well for everyone, then anybody can kind of step into that. But when things go bad, things get tough, and they're oh, you guys go front in the front lines. You guys kind of go figure this out. And I think if we're just being honest with ourselves for a second, dude, if there was a mass shooting going on, I'm not saying a woman can't defend that, but if the news article told me someone took down a mass shooter, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to guess it's a guy.
Right.
9 out of 10 times. And we can go through the stats, we can go through everything. I'm not saying women aren't capable of doing that, but it's different.
Well, what's funny is that there was a story like that. Women will, if they see that there's a lack, that the men aren't. There was a school shooting, and all the parents showed up, and the cops are keeping everyone back. The mom went and grabbed her kids out. She didn't wait.
That's awesome.
But that's what I'm saying. Kind of different situation, but we don't know if she was a single mom,
Right.
If the dad wasn't there yet, she wasn't going to wait.
So here's the main issue, right? Because we talked about the main thing is how that ruined generations. I'm just going to claim the X's. This is how. Okay, and we can kind of discuss that. So what it is it taught men to take a step back. But what people need to understand is what you practice, you will always do. And so when you practice that in the marriage, eventually you'll do that everywhere else.
Right.
So that means in life. There's a lot of guys out there that the world is literally falling apart around us, especially men. I'm going to be honest, men of faith, right? I'm talking specifically right now to men of faith. That there is a lot of stuff coming out nowadays that it goes against. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a very easy agenda too. That and I'm not going to bring up those, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now that need men to speak up, to stand up for what's right. And a lot of them are going what's the path of least resistance? Because that's what I've trained to do. You know what? It's easier for me not to say anything, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to make sure that they personally know what's right or wrong, right? I'm not going to just completely let go, but I'm going to take a step back though for what's right.
She got it. She'll do it. She got it.
Yeah, or somebody else will.
Yeah.
Somebody else will, because that's what you've been kind of training. Happy wife, happy life. What's the path of least resistance? And then also what it's kind of taught is, here's the thing though, right? It might have started as something pure. It might have not completely pure, but it might have not been that bad. But what happens is when you shoot an arrow a little bit to the left, if you shoot an arrow a little bit to the right, if it travels for miles, it ends up being way off target, even if it's a little off in the beginning. as it progresses longer, it ends up missing the mark by a long shot. And I feel like that's what this has done. Is I don't feel like it was this evil agenda, right? But even if you're off by a little bit, over time, you will miss by a lot. And that's what I think this has done. I'm not saying that it can't lead to a marriage with less arguments. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that long term, we're going to see huge repercussions from this. We're going to see that men who don't know how to be men no more, and what I mean is to stand up for what's right, they needed to learn how to be in leadership. They needed to learn how to be empowered. And we need to really talk about that, what that looks like in a godly way, because there's a lot of men that are abusing that. And for those women, I am like deeply sorry. Like that's not okay. And we're going to make a clear line of what that looks like. Not just make it like, oh, you just need to trust your husband and blah, 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 and that's it. No. No, we're not even going to play for a second about that. But also with women, right, it's if you think of how dangerous that is as well, okay, and I hope there's men listening to this, okay, and I say this with love, but I'm going to punch you in your chest right now. I'm being honest. Like, I'm going to punch you in your chest. When you say that your wife is always right, how dare you allow such a virus in her mind? You are a coward among cowards. Because part of being a Christian is the ability to repent. You are literally training someone to never be wrong. How can that person ever be close to God? I will say that louder. How can that person ever be close to God if they're not willing to submit? Do you understand the dangers of what you have just done? You have told somebody that they are always right. I would never wish such a burden on myself or anyone around me. Because somebody that doesn't have the ability to be wrong doesn't have the ability to ever learn. That's dangerous. And I think nowadays we see that in society so many times. We have phones nowadays. You see it. You see that mentality, right? Of happy wife, happy life, and next thing you know, you have videos of, and like people call them Karens and stuff like that. But it's just somebody at their heart who's never been told, hey, you should maybe not do that. Like, hey, that's not okay. And they're like, they're loose. They're just now in the wild, and they're meant to like kind of deal with people that never agreed to sign up to that agenda. Well, I never learned how to emotionally process or deal with the difficulty of being wrong. And it's just like,
no, that's a weird word anyways.
But does that make sense? Like it's
that's
just
a weird word.
but it's the truth, dude. As a man, if you're gonna take care of your family, that's not it. Because here's basically what I'm saying. Oh, honey, you got it.
Right.
And you got it completely.
Yep.
No, she does all the thing for us. She does all this. It's like, dude, that is like.
And I feel like it does one or two things. Or both. I feel like one, it could be such a burden. You could be put in a position where you want to be wrong. And you can ask, am I wrong? No, you're right. No, yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah, it's like, and maybe people feel that way because maybe a little bit they are wrong. Because I don't feel like you would feel that way if you weren't wrong even a little bit. So it does that. It makes them like, am I? And it's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Then they have to press on. Or it makes them so sense, oh, she's always right. And then they get cocky. And it's like, I'm never wrong. No, we're going to do that. Yeah. It's just like, there's no love, there's no humbleness, it's just ill feelings.
Yeah, it's like a cocktail of just like bad, dude. It's just bad. It just gets bad. And that's what I'm saying, right? That's why I feel like God tries to catch us.
And I don't even know how that doesn't affect guys. Because if it was swapped and it was a happy husband, happy life? Yeah.
Oh, bro, that's...
and if I always had to make...
We're going to edit that out because we don't need to say that right now.
What rhymes with husband?
Yeah, something else. That's probably going to get beat, dude. Like, let's be... happy beep, happy beep. And then replace it with wife.
That's funny.
No, dude, you don't ever say that. But here's the thing, that's not the agenda that we're pushing. That's not it. It's not, well, start giving more power. It's like, no. We need to start right to end right. And it's meeting right here in the middle.
It's coming together.
Right.
Stop leaving her on her own.
That's not the agenda. It's like, that's not what we're even talking about right now. It's like,
No.
it's like, women, let go of the power and give it to your men. It's like, no, hey guys, like,
No, come
we
together.
do this together. Yes, together, because you need to start right to end right. And that's both.
I mean, that's how God made us. He didn't just make Adam. He didn't just make Eve. He made them both to be together.
Right. You like that one?
Yeah. No, I mean, if you think about it, right? Like, I've heard sermons like Mike Todd preaches a lot on this too, right? Like how, this gets deeper. There's a deeper conversation to it, but the consequences of your actions, right? And the world that we live in, right, with sleeping around and what sleeping around leads to, and then you get pregnant, then you have a choice, and then you a lot of times it's a single parents involved. Now that's affecting a children, and it's just a byproduct of a bad decision that you made in the moment.
Right.
But I
feel like you just keep going, even if like, dude. Okay, I'll say this. 2 days ago, I got really upset with Stefan, and he got a consequence, right? And I had to apologize afterwards. Within 10 minutes of it, I told him my heart was wrong, and I told it to his face. And honestly, it was like a really deep moment because I was like sincerely apologizing to him. He's like 9.
But I don't see. I know there's a lot of people that don't have that, right? And
it's a muscle.
Kind of tying back to what you said, right? It takes two.
Right.
Single parents weren't meant to raise it. Like it's the reason it's so hard is you were not meant to raise a kid alone.
First of all, can we give a shout out to single parents?
Absolutely.
Like the ones that,
yeah.
Like, dude.
Like it. But just like you said, like I mean, Adam and Eve, right? I mean, he made Adam. He's like, nah, he needs somebody to help him.
Yeah.
Right? And
like, this isn't complete.
Right, but then it's just, and then I don't think it's a coincidence, right? When, the Bible says where two gather, the Lord is there, right? That's husband and wife right there.
But where they gather.
When they gather. So gather could be, just coming together, right? It takes coming together, and I think so many times it's...
So, and here's the thing too, right? So you brought up like future generations and the trauma and stuff like that. I think that's why this is such a subject that we're bringing up now, because it is dangerous. Because here's the thing, right? Even if you guys were able to master it, as far as like the no argument stuff like that, your kids will just keep going the direction that you were going. So if as a husband you don't step up and become any type of a leader, your sons will almost do that worse. Like, they'll even more because they've been watching daddy constantly just submit to whatever mom wants. Just constantly. So, oh, this kind of works. So now they're going to look for a woman that just completely imposes on them.
Right.
Like, completely takes away their voice and just, like, you have no say in this. Like, dude, that's dangerous. Because here's what's so funny, too. And you see it, too, in so many videos. We could bring them up one after another, right? Somebody with like a very strong vocal opinion, blah, 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 and then, Gerald, you're gonna let them speak to me that way? And it's like, I thought you got this. I'm so confused right now. This was like your agenda. You didn't check in with me to start this conversation. Right. Now we're doing this together. Like, I'm really confused. And the husband's always like this. It's the same face. It's like, honey, and it's just like, bro, like. Yeah, it's what you train to do, you will just keep doing more of, and it just creates problems, right? And then also, from the other perspective, right? If you're raising daughters, they're just going to become even more emboldened, even more
independent,
right?
More, I don't need a man.
More
looking down at them. When again, it's right here in the mid.
Well, I mean, we live in a very, I don't need a man
That should be it.
Culture.
I don't need a man.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that should be the topic of the episode. It's like, I don't need a man. Like, yeah, dude,
You're being really shy about this. It's okay.
No, I mean, I've been there.
Okay.
You know, like, I've been there.
What does that look like? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Where have you been? An
Where
ice
you
cream
been?
shop? You been to a roller coaster? Like, what are we talking about, my friend? Let's be real.
I mean, I've been there in a relationship, right? Where you, like, that's what it was for me, right? You have two opposing views, right? And for the sake of not creating a fight, not making things worse, easing the tension, because, I mean, there were times, man, where it was, you walk in the door, you could cut that tension with the butter knife. I had so many people tell me that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And it was just, I'm like, can't really do anything about it, right? And living where I felt like I couldn't do anything about it.
I want to
in that moment.
A quick pause and just thank you for speaking up on that. Like, you're bringing such an important point of view to this because, again, this isn't to, I feel like, come after guys or anybody who might be finding themselves in this situation.
Right.
But I think it's very important that we're being honest and real about it. So, dude, I wanted to appreciate you because I know that wasn't easy to share. And I have some stuff, too, that I want to share because, honestly, anyway. But like, no, seriously, dude, thank you. Like, I just honor you as another man.
But that, I mean, that's what it was, you know, and being there, right? I mean, we talk about the topic of you know, you and I have talked off, you know.
Off camera?
Yeah, about, you know, feeling emasculated, you know, and that was me, right? Because it was, that's the thing, right? I was oblivious to the fact, right? Again, it was a very, you know, tense kind of environment, right? The relationship conflict that, you know, we got to this point, right, where we hadn't really dealt, like, conversations that should have been had prior to marriage, prior to, you know, anything, right? Being that those didn't happen, right, you kind of just brushed them under for a little bit. That started to creep up, and when that mountain was so high, living that way for so long, right, and just allowing things to kind of, you know, like, it was almost just like a peacemaker, right, because you don't want to poke the bear, right, for lack of better terms, and it...
Yeah, dude, I've been in a lot of homes where, to the husband, it feels like they have a rabid pit bull at home, and, like, they're walking on eggshells.
Oh, I've been in a house where, like, the wife was on her way home, and I'd been warned. Like, the husband came running upstairs, and they're like, they had a bad day. Just stay in your room and hide. Like...
Right.
But, okay. Yeah, sorry, go.
Yeah, honestly, man, like, that walking on eggshells that was my life.
Dude, I feel it on you, bro.
And it, like, you know, I don't want, like, the reason it's, like, difficult to talk about, right, because I'm trying to protect, you know,
right,
the other person, right? You know, it's not a bash session.
No,
right?
it's not. Yeah, because it's very important also at the end of this, dude, before we cut. So it's important that when we talk, because we're going to talk about some things that even off camera me and you have discussed that honestly we could have done better, or you could have. I'm going to be very direct right now. Does that make sense?
Right.
Because that's the whole subject. It's not bashing the other partner. It's looking inwards and be like, hey, where do you stand in this?
Right.
That's why it's so important. So here, let's kind of break that down, right? First of all, I kind of want to say there's a lot of grace that needs to be dealt with this. It's never okay to do that. And I'm just going to say, whether you're male or whether you're female, like, think of how crazy that is. And so here, let's talk about it, right? So early on in our marriage, first of all, let's talk about from our foundation, okay? So we've been together a shocking amount of time.
For David. It's shocking for David.
It's terrifying. Dude. I've told you that. I had a reality session where I realized I was with her almost. It's coming really soon. I've known my life more with Gabby than I've known my life without Gabby. That freaks me out, bro.
You're so happy about that.
Cute. Okay. Like, it's a weird realization to me. I was like very independent. That's who I am. And it was just like,
Okay,
here's
I
Gabby.
can see that.
Like, I'm like, just like, no, I love her. Like, can I say, and me and you talk quite a bit. And I bring it up all the time. When I call Gabby, I usually call her my treasure. She's my gift. And that's what you are. Like, I don't want to make this like a big old smooch session or anything, but it's the truth. Like, I used to read all the time in the Bible when it's like, oh, your wife is like this precious jewel, like, oh, all these things, right? Like, if you have like a godly woman, you have like everything. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, that sounds great. But, like, I'll never get. It's just so, you know. But it's the truth.
And
Like-
for the record, I am not perfect.
Oh. You want me to talk on that? No, I'm just kidding.
He's like, well, you brought it up. So,
Let's go! Send the men!
where's the opposite applause?
No. Boo! No. But, no, but, and it's so funny because I was about to do a cheesy line, like, but to me, you are.
That's okay.
No, you're not, but that's okay. Like, but it, like,
I'm cool with that.
I love you, like, exactly who you are. But it took a lot of time to get there. So here, let's talk about from foundations, right? Because our marriage has definitely not been perfect. But from the beginning, I was young when we met. We were 16 when we started dating.
Pause.
It's me.
Yeah, I was like,
I was the one
pause.
beeping.
I was like,
Is it you making the beeping?
his foot
What was it?
on that. I was like, this is
I
gonna
was
be
like, dude,
I was
it seemed like you're getting
accidentally-
worse, and I was like,
right. I was like, this is gonna be
this is
really hard
driving
to
me
edit
insane.
out.
Like,
I'm so sorry. For those of you who don't know, like, I'm very twitchy, so I found something to do without realizing. My foot was over there basically typewriting.
so you were pressing a
I
button.
was
You
writing
heard
a
it though,
small
right?
novel.
What button were you pressing?
It don't matter. Anyways.
I don't even know.
I was like,
There was a button that I
dude.
found on. I was like,
And
Morse code.
I was like,
Morse code sending out help, dude.
it kept getting faster, and I was like,
I was getting excited.
I didn't want to be that one to break it up. I was like, this is driving me
It was,
crazy.
no, it was. I was like, I can't edit this.
I'm so sorry. Okay. So,
We started dating when we were 16.
yes. I recently had gotten baptized. Like, I was, like, really in my faith. And so, it was so funny. The whole story behind it, the quick version, is when I first saw Gabby, I knew she was going to be my wife. Like, but I didn't even talk to you for
I
6
hadn't
months
seen
after that.
him. I hadn't met him.
I just walked in class and I was like, that's my wife. And by the way, I've never done that before. I wasn't like that type of guy. You know?
Because there's types of guys like that. It's like, bro, you've been saying that for like the last 15.
Yeah, you go to IHOP and Denny's on the same day, and guess what? You just met two of them. But that's your IHOP wife and that's your Denny's wife. It's a totally different thing. Like, you know?
Well,
That's
yeah,
the truth.
that's true.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just never did that. But I was very sincere to the point where I remember I even called my cousin later that day, and I brought it up like it was nonchalant. Like, it was just like, oh, I met my wife today. But also I want to say this, like, even before then, dude, when I was 12, I remember I prayed. No, I was like 13. Like, I wasn't really faith. Like, God wasn't like such a mystery to me, but I was still like, God, I pray there's somebody out there for me.
At 12?
Like 12, 13. Okay, not to get too deep, bro, but like, my parents' marriage hit an iceberg of icebergs. I saw messy. I saw two human beings basically try to more or less kind of kill each other through the court system. Like, it messed me up. So I wasn't really like sold on God, but if there was something out there listening, I wanted him to know that I wanted something different.
Right.
And that's more or less what the prayer was when I was young. So then I met Gabby. Then, long story short, we were friends for a long time. Not for a long time,
year.
but for a little. Yeah, okay. Okay, settle
She's got it
down.
down, dude.
For
She's
me,
got it
dates
down
are
to
just
the
like-
hours,
yeah.
seconds. Yeah.
It's just whatever. But
It's just whatever.
right from the get-go, the first like date, let's say when we got together, like, God put this in my heart, man, and it was black and white to let him know, to let you
We
know,
know.
that he's really important to me. And so I was so nervous, like, because I was in high school, dude. I was literally like, people are gonna call me a Jesus freak, dude. And, like, it's so funny how fast you can think.
We
when
had
you're
been
in
dating
panic.
for a complete 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like it was fresh.
Yeah. And then God's like, you need to tell her about me. And I'm like, oh, I don't wanna. I'm in school. Like, these are important years. You know what I mean? Like, and so,
Well, no, you
Important
said
years.
you were scared that I was going to break up with you.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So I remember I screamed it at you more or less because I was so nervous.
I love God.
Yeah, more, honestly, kind of.
That's it.
Well,
She's
no,
like,
so there's a lot to
okay.
more to this stuff, so I'm just going to go through it quick. So I remember I looked at you and I said, God's the most important thing in my life, and if you don't believe the same thing, we shouldn't be together.
And then he looked down. He went,
Yes. I was like,
yeah,
in
just like,
Jesus' name, amen.
and then I immediately started praying. I was like, you happy, God? Whatever happens next, you did this.
Your fault.
You did it. And then Gabby says,
I think he said, like, me too. I believe that too.
and then I was like, wait, man, maybe it wasn't you. Like,
I'm gonna take that back.
yeah, that was all me. I never doubted. But so from the base, right? Like we started with like faith involved. Like that's so important. Like I really want to kind of say that. Like that's the reason why I want to bring this up. It started everything.
And also too, that whenever our relationship was falling, 'cause we've had highs and lows. When it was really bad lows and on the brink of breaking, we weren't close to God.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact. Like furthest from it.
Yeah. And even we took a period.
If both people are seeking God, that's where you guys meet.
With God? In
Yeah.
God?
It's the place that you guys come together. It's the middle. If I trust Gabby that she's pursuing God and I'm pursuing God, God brings us both together.
And also too, with the sense of like offering advice, if your significant other isn't, God will get them. You pray for them, and God will snatch them up. It's not
but
because
you
of
focus
you.
on you.
You focus on you.
You got to dial that in.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you got to pretend like you're not in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like
And
not in a bad way.
But what's
you got to
funny-
start prioritizing the right
Yeah, because
relationship.
if you start prioritizing God, you're automatically going to be filled more
Right.
with Him, which is more love, with more grace, and
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's not like I'm gonna focus on me, and you figure it out. It's not.
And that's so important.
Well, that's, I mean,
because
that-
you just
yeah.
you hit it on the head when you said it like that too.
Yeah.
Because
We live in that culture too.
It
I'm gonna
is. Yeah.
focus
I'm
on
gonna
me.
focus on me.
Do whatever
And then
you
here's
want.
the thing. And then you know what a godly person says? God told me I need to focus on me. And both were like, I've been doing that for years. Like, nah, you haven't been doing that for a second. It looks the same, but it's not. It's not. And so here, right, to help somebody like, well, how will I ever know? Pray for a humble heart. Pray for a moldable heart, and then God leads the way. Like, that's how you'll
and
know.
Be patient.
It's not about you leading you. It's about like, hey, Lord, I need to make this right. And I know if I make this right, you're going to take care of everything else.
Well, I think it's the heart too, right? Like it's like, you go through a breakup, right? I'm gonna work on me, right? You're in the gym, you're literally
I'm
killing
going to
yourself.
show them. And it's
Right.
like, why are you so
And then now you're,
focused
yeah, I
on
mean,
them?
you're taking care of your body, right? Which is good, but to a degree that it's almost toxic, right? And it's
Oh, yeah.
creating like such a, it's.
Well, you fix one
you're
hole
trying
by
to
creating
fill-
others.
Right, and you're trying to still fill a void,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? You're not dealing with something that probably should be dealt with.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm not about talking bad about working out. That's awesome, dude. Like,
Right.
when you break up, go to the gym. That helps. For sure.
Right.
For sure. But at the same time, right, it's understanding that, but like if you sell out to that, what happens is you fill one hole by digging another. Like you're
Right.
like, oh, I need to put the soil back in. I need to make this right. It's like, dude, you're creating more problems. Like you don't know how to emotionally connect. Now, if you do find the right girl, you're not the right guy.
It's working on yourself inward.
Yeah.
And be-
That's what it was.
Right.
That's exactly like I didn't realize it in the moment, right? Very much like what you had said, where it was, her. You're pointing the finger.
Do you feel like you were doing that
Oh yeah,
in your relationship?
Absolutely.
Bro, can I say this? This is the first time you've ever said that.
absolutely.
Like,
Well, I've told you off
proud of
camera.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not like what you're saying right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
I appreciate you being honest.
that's what I did.
Dang, dude. That's
And it was
this is a
like-
big moment.
But until the last couple months, right, of really kind of trying to dial in, what does it even mean to work on myself? Because I've never worked on myself, right? I've always helped others. I've always worked on others. I've always right? Until I've started to really do that, then it's like, oh, you know, no wonder, you know, we were in that situation, right? No wonder that it was so easy, right, for me to feel emasculated, right, or for just to pull back, right, because I literally did not have the strength, I didn't have the confidence to be like, no. That's not right.
Right.
And it's only through this process, right, as you're taking time and you're, you know, like that, like how you said it, right? It's that inward look. That's where God's like, hey, we need to work on this.
Right. And here's the thing, right? What it is this is the advice I would have to give to men out there. Okay. Understand that may be your family, but somebody gave that to you. That's his family. Before they're yours, that's his. It's not just your wife. That's his. That's before, and that's one thing. Okay, so I want to like really throw myself in the bus. And honestly, I just appreciate you being that, because you're right. You had a powerful moment. I felt like it was like a week or two ago, where some deep stuff came out. And I'm not about to put that, but some deep stuff came out, and I really appreciate you. Like, just, man, there's some truth to that. So I'm gonna share through my journey, and say, there's a lot of things we did right early on in our marriage. Okay, that I would give advice to. First of all, start with faith. That's like number one. Okay, ding, number one. Start with faith. Like, it's better to have a running plane when you start flying than trying to fix it halfway while you're flying. All right, like, it's like, we can make this work. Yeah, Jesus, that's the left engine's going out, and it's just like, bro, I ain't saying you can't do it. I'm just saying, like, why? What are you doing? like, start with faith, man. Like, start with God being number one. Instead of halfway through, both engines go out and you need a miracle to get you through, and that's when you go.
Right.
But here's the thing, if that's the case, God can still deliver. Like, I want to make that crystal clear.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Like, that ain't no problem. But if you have the option, right, you're still looking for a plane, start with faith, all right? Like, I just want to make that crystal clear. But if you're halfway through and you're like, David, you don't understand, I'm watching this while flying this plane that's like, like, have no fear, my friend. Yeah, right. Like, I'm watching and I can barely watch it because the cockpit's moving around. But, like, have no fear. Like, God's there. You're not going to catch him off guard. Like, he knows what you need, and he knows the position you're in.
Right.
He can step in, but you got to let him. So again, going back to the advice, right? That's number one, start with faith.
Yes.
Number two, having really clear boundaries and expectations also really helps. We'll get back into that, but I really want to jump into number three. Give that family back to him. Give her, right, that gift that you've been giving back to God. See, it was when...
I feel like there should be a fourth for communication, but...
For sure. There's more to this. Okay. There's more, right? We're not going to be like, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. That's all.
5 easy steps.
Maybe that's what we get to. But that right there, it was such a big part of my personal growth journey. Because for so long, it was almost like prideful. These were my kids. This was my wife. This was my family. And by doing this, I didn't realize I was also keeping him out.
Right, because that looks good. Oh, I'm a provider.
I'm this. I'm that.
I got to take care of them.
Dude, God cares about your family more than you ever will.
Yep.
Ever will.
When he can provide for them
more than you ever will. And so it's...
And I think that's the hardest thing. As men, we try to control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, that when I finally let that go, is when everything started blossoming. Everything. Within our marriage, dude, it was like I was planting rocks before and hoping for a full harvest. And then finally, when that humility came in, God finally gave me seeds. And I was out there with boldness in my chest going like, God, I've been doing this. Yeah, you haven't been planting the right stuff, though. I'm just going to do it. And I told you, like, finally when I submitted to God, there was still pride in my heart, dude. I did what God was calling me to do. I was obedient, but my heart was still like, honestly, a little bit was like, I'm going to do this, God, just to show you that you're wrong. Dude, I had a heart to heart, bro, and it was, he finally was telling me, it's like, David, we've tried like 15 different ways of yours. Can we just try one of mine for giggles? And I'm like, fine then, fine. We'll try it your way, big guy.
Right.
Big guy.
Big guy.
but finally it was, fine. Just for giggles, let's do this. So it was that. It was that powerful message. It was that day that I went to go for a park walk, and I really just was deep in it, bro. And God was like letting me know, I need you to trust, leave her alone. I got her. I need you to focus on you. Focus on you. I know what she needs. You and here's the thing that I want to make crystal clear for somebody watching this video. There's a good chance that the things that you're seeing in your partner, you're right. You're right. And that's something that God let me know. You're right. You're just probably focusing on the wrong things, though.
And I had no knowledge of this. I had no idea he was praying to God. He was letting me be and focusing on himself. I was just...
Yeah, I didn't come home and be like...
So
I'm gonna do me.
Yeah, God told me to work on me, so I hope it works out for you. Because I'm getting this relationship right. I don't know what you're doing over there, but it's like, it wasn't a threat.
I had no idea, no knowledge.
No. Like, to her, nothing had changed.
No.
Because honestly, because I'll be real, I didn't think anything was going to change, so why would I advertise something? Like, I was just doing that because that was something that God put in my heart. It was that humbleness. It was that humility. And God started breaking me down, dude. Like, my legs were snapping at how quick I was bowing down to him, because it was humbling. As far as how wrong I was. I was falling off a building. Because I thought I was so right. I thought I was like doing so many things right. And then God changed the standard on me. That's what it is. God's standard is so much higher than ours. See, you might have a passing grade if you're in the first grade. But next thing you know, you're taking college algebra, right? And you ain't so smart no more. And it's not even a fair comparison to make that level of jump. It's 100 times higher. And he's like, you're not doing it this way. You haven't been loving her. You haven't been creating a peaceful environment for her. You've been hostile with her. You've been asking her to grow, but you haven't been that leader to grow first. There's been so many things that God corrected me. He humbled me hard, dude. It was, you want to be the leader, but you don't want to do what leaders do. You know what they do? They lead first. You want to tell her how to be a good wife, but you're not even being a good husband yet. Ooh, that one hit. That one hurt. When I was getting this poured into me, oh, dude, I was like, okay, God, please stop. I'm like tapping out by the second one. Like, it was that Job moment, dude. Maybe that's why I connect with it so hard, because he's like, and I'm like,
Right, well, I think it's like what we talked about, right? I mean, the overall theme, right? It takes two. You're not meant to do this alone, right? I'm in a relationship, right? You're not meant to do this alone. And, I mean, like with what you just said, right? Like, you're focusing on you, and, like, if you just think of that, like, femininity, right? Femininity is the least masculine, right? Masculinity is the least feminine, right? It takes two. And so, like, I love what you said, right? I want her to be a good wife, but I'm not being a good husband. So by being a good husband, right, it's almost like it just takes the other to make it work.
Yes.
Right? And they balance each other out.
Yes. But someone's got to go on that bridge first. So I'm gonna here's the unfortunate part, okay? If you're a guy, I'm sorry, but I'm going to call you out to go first. Because you want to be a leader, right? You got to do what leaders do. And this is the best thing that could kind of help for someone who might be struggling in that. You're not going to do it alone. Who told you were going to do this alone? Who lied to you and said that this was just your journey? No, my friend. This is the moment where you finally get to step out of faith and become a man of God. Because you know what a man of God does? He walks with God. But it's the walking with God that makes you a man of God. But at that journey, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to connect. It looks lonely. There was so much loneliness in my heart because it was scary.
Right.
Because that's what faith looks like, right? It's like stepping out into the unknown and you don't know. For me, bro, there was a lot of like, it was lonely. It was scary. There was moments where I kept wanting to look back and be like, oh God, but dude, it was so funny. My heart was being used against me. And I kept saying, God, I can't do this because if I go and I improve, I'm going to leave Gabby behind. That's like real. That was in my heart, bro. I can't get better because then I'm going to leave my family behind. And it was so funny because it was the opposite. Me and Gabby have never been closer. There was a moment where I think I was working on me, and it was like for a while, bro. There was like no fruit being bloomed, but I became so addicted to that relationship. This became more than enough. That's what it was. This, I didn't care about anything else because God had shown me how wrong I was in my ways. So that became more than ever I needed. And then so what happened was I forgot about my prayer about making Gabby better. She just became my gift. And I remember I just started telling her that. The language I told you one day, and I just kept repeating this, God finally showed me that you don't have to improve. I just get to enjoy who you are. Like, I just get to cherish you. And honestly, at first, to Gabby, that was probably like such a foreign thing. Because not to make myself, like, beat myself up too hard, I was not that guy. Like, I wasn't loving to Gabby that way. Like, I was a dictator, dude. I was a dick. Like, it was... I was rude. I wasn't nice. I wasn't loving. I wasn't the way I should be.
I didn't believe him when he told me.
When he told you what?
That I get to just enjoy, like, that, I mean, he came to me soft and humbled, but he was like, I'm not going to push you to grow, I'm just going to enjoy you. I was just like, okay. But yeah. And I wasn't mean about it either, I was just like, okay.
I didn't know if you remember that moment.
I did, yeah.
Gabby remembers everything, bro. If I've learned anything...
No, for us, she kind of does.
If I've learned anything, getting closer to you guys...
I remember
she remembers,
everything.
bro. She's there.
Yeah, I know.
But no, I mean, I think it...
Here, do you mind if I hear her out on this? Like,
yeah.
This is like kind of a real...
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, that was it.
No. Keep going. Press this.
No, well...
like, what was that like for you?
Me?
Like, what was going through your head?
When he told me that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when he told me that, I think I was just a little bit more shocked because, like he said, we weren't perfect in the beginning. So I've heard the conversations of him basically begging me to grow at a speed that he was growing.
Right.
And not that it was malice, but like he said, he was just lonely. And so I almost felt bad. Like, okay. But, you know, people's growth look differently, so I still felt out a loss. Like, I felt I was growing, but then he would be like, why aren't you doing this? I'm like, okay, so I need to go in this direction? Like, I was, like, pulling in so many different directions, I didn't know where to go. And so, when he told me that, it was just like I just didn't believe him, because one thing in our relationship that I've learned is that I don't just give David my trust. I don't just believe David. I see it. So I can't just take his... I mean, probably now I can. But, like, back then, I couldn't just take his word. I had to see it.
Right.
So when he told me that, it was just kind of like okay. All right. But I was so nervous. So that would be the conversation, and he would go, like, I'm going to go read, I'm going to go to the park, and I'd be like...
And at that point, I had a lot of peace in my heart. Like, God was probably working within me.
But like we said, I didn't know that.
For like 3 months straight. Before I even talked to Gabby about that.
Yeah, so like I would be, like, again, not knowing what to do. So I'd just be here at the house, and then I would hear him come home, the garage would open, pop up. I didn't do this, I need it. Like, I'd panic.
Right.
And so...
I messed up, dude.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard hearing... I'm going to be honest. It's hard hearing me. Like, hearing this from me. Like, it's... But I'm grateful at it at the same time.
Hearing this from you?
Yeah,
like,
hearing this from me.
Oh, it's hard sometimes looking back and like seeing the scars that you've created.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it though, at the same time, because it's like, this isn't fake. Like, it's, so I know there's a guy out there, somewhere out there, this family out there, and I hope this helps them, where it's like, no, we're too far gone. Bro, like, literally, you just hearing it right now. This is hard.
Yeah.
Like, knowing that's the environment I was creating for you. Yeah, what were you saying?
Just that for a little bit, I lived in a state of panic because I felt like I should be doing something because he was.
Right.
But then over time, I would see it that he was calm. He was actually just happy to be there. And like he just came across more loving, which is like, it's hard to explain, but like he did, like his tone and what he would say, and just nothing changed the aspect of like what we did together. It was just, he somehow became softer.
Right. But I imagine it was only through the process. I mean, you know, what you got to see, right? Like, versus what, you know, what went
What was
down,
going on?
what went down at the front,
Oh, yeah.
right? That, like, you got to
And he went for a walk.
you got to eventually like experience that softness, that love. But I mean, everything I've heard from that process for him internally was like, it literally broke him.
Yeah.
Like, literally baseball bat to the knees, down to where you're like, you know, you don't have much left, right? But then that's where the softness came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Right.
What?
this is just a trip. It's so trippy, dude, because it's, we talk, but I mean, now we just get to enjoy the fruit that's grown.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, it is interesting getting your perspective, because I wouldn't talk to you. I just go to the part. That's what I went, part of that correction process, right? Part of being a leader, black and white, what it was me going and spending time with God.
Right.
That's all I did. But that's all I had to do. I started refocusing this relationship, and it started with like 5 minutes. Then it was 20. Then it was 30. And then I started getting really into it, and then God started really working in me. And then I got on my word, right? And then it was just deep.
And
in
he
prayer.
never invited me. Not that that was a bad thing, but it was like, you want to read with me?
Yeah, it wasn't. I wasn't improving because she was doing it with me.
Yeah.
It was just something like, God told me to work on me, and so that's all I'm going to do.
Well, because I think that can happen. We're like, oh, we'll do it together.
We'll do it together.
Then it
No. You know what we get to do together?
Right.
We get to enjoy the fruit that grows together.
Right.
But I was no longer, I'm only going to grow because you grow. See, so many times we do that where it's, well, I'm only going to improve in this relationship if I see the other person.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest, if especially if you're a man, that's on your shoulders. If you want to enjoy that leadership position, you got to do what leaders do. And it's not all, see, that's the thing. And that's where that's honestly why I relate and I connect with so much with women. Because they're right so many times. It's not fair. It's BS. They should be screaming when they're like saying like, well, guys aren't doing this, guys aren't doing that, because guys are trying to impose this on them, but yet guys aren't bringing their half in. They're right. They're right.
Right.
But here, I feel like as men especially, we like specific instructions. I restored my relationship with God, and then He restored my marriage. And then He restored my kids. There were so many dominoes that came from that, bro. Bro, my heart broke. Like, it was like cracked open. There was one day where I started sobbing in front of Gaby, telling her that, like, for the first time ever, I really fully loved our oldest.
Oh, yeah.
It was, oh, man. Because for so long, he had embodied negative personality traits that I hated.
Of
Of
yourself.
myself. He picked them up. And so as I started working on myself and started loving that, I finally was able to love him too. And so, like, there was just so much to it. And then I handed my family back to God. And then I handed my relationship back to God. And then God's just, I always say this too, like, you're right, I wasn't there when Christ died, but I saw Him bring a marriage back from the dead. Like, we didn't really share all the details, but it was bad on different levels. There was different layers of bad. It was like the Chronicles of Narnia, but 3 different bads. Like, they weren't good. They were bad. Like, it was bad because of this. It was bad because of this. And even when we got out of one bad, we just went to a different bad. Basically what it was. Like, the marriage never got right. It just was, like, different
Less
season of
bad,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, like, it's
This
a
was-
different time.
This was all right. Ooh, this was heavy.
Like, now we're spending time together, but we're fighting. But now we're not spending time together, but I'm sleeping in a different room for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, we had different beds.
Yeah.
Like, we were basically just roommates for a while. And now, like, I adore this girl with all my heart. Like, even right now, it's hard for me to look at you, because then I'll, like, tear up. Don't look at me. Don't look at me! But it's... Stop it! No, so it's so... I'm just so grateful to you. But that's what it was, right? So let's go back through that, where if we could give advice to anyone. If a man currently finds himself in that relationship, here's what it is. It's not about you talking to your wife and be like, hey, babe, I watched this podcast and they said
You should hear
that
this.
you shouldn't be the leader.
Sending
I'm
him
going to be real
TikToks.
with you. You need to shut up and put in the work.
Right.
Don't you use this as a weapon, because I hope she hears this part. Shut up and put in the work. That what it means to be a leader. You need to earn those stripes, because here's what happens. That's something that you can't fake. And that's something that happened. See, I had to earn that trust with Gaby, but that wasn't my intention. And my intention wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be a man to her, and it's just like, no, I need to get my relationship back with God. And then the fruit that sprouted from that were like as far as you can see in the forest. Like, it was just so many that ended up happening because of that. That was one of those things, though. So if we could give help, right? Number one, start with faith. It's better to start with a plane that can actually fly than one that you're trying to put together halfway while you're flying. But if not, it can still work. I want to make that crystal clear. Someone out there is like, I know it, doors. It's like, no, no. It's like, no, God is good. Number two, what did we say? You remember everything.
You worded it weird.
I did. So number one, start with
I
faith.
feel like we always have those conversations. Repeat what you just said.
What did I say?
Yes.
Yes. So number one is start with faith. Number two,
You said pray for like a humbled heart or something?
was that a step?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, here, just generic pull
No, I
up the
think
front thing.
the humble, the moldable heart.
Oh yeah, we
Moldable
talk about
heart.
that all the time.
Right.
Well, I was gonna say that goes on both ends.
All the time.
Yes, but it has to. Somebody has to start in the relationship.
Right.
Somebody has to. Whoever hears this, that's you now. You found this for a reason.
Right.
The ball starts with you and ends with you. And leave everything else to God, because He knows and He's got it.
Right.
But He can't do anything if you're not willing to step in.
Right.
It's start with faith. Oh, the standards, having standards,
Boundaries.
and standards. That is really important. Here's I just really want to bring this up because I see this so many times in marriages, and honestly, it blows my mind. So in life, okay, like just a life principle, everyone has standards. Everyone does. It's just basically what we find levels of acceptable. Okay, so that's why, for example, if you go to a different country, they're going to do things, and you're like, what the heck? That's weird. Like, and same thing within your marriage. It's that communication, which was number 3.
Yeah.
Super important. But having that open line of communication to figure out, like, hey, we don't do this. Like, just that type of conversation. Like, so I'll be real. I go, sometimes we'll hang out. And I'm not saying that, like, this is, like, a major red flag. But it's to me, it's just weird.
Huh.
Where it's, like, the couple's very physical with one another. But specifically, it's, like, the girl. Like, first of all, I feel like that's so bad to say. But, like, if a guy ever hits a girl, that's, like, automatic. Like, I don't even want to discuss that.
Aggressive.
Yes.
Okay, I was like PDA.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but, like, when a girl, like, slaps the heck out of a guy,
Right.
and the guy's like, hee, it's just, like,
Takes it basically.
yeah, it's weird because that can only progress. Just in my opinion, like, it's, we don't do that.
We don't do that. And I've been told, like, I've had a conversation with a friend, and like, oh, I was just telling her story between me and David, and she was like, and you didn't slap him? And I was like, no. She's like, I would have slapped mine. I was like, oh, okay.
And I would have looked at you funny. Like, I'm not about to put hands on you, but you're about to know, like,
Well,
what
and I
what
know
demon possessed you to think
Right.
you could do that?
And I know
Like,
I talked a little bit about, that to you after I heard that, right? Because I've been around people with that mentality.
it's weird to me, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that would, we
I
would
would
have
have hit him
done.
with a frying pan. I'm just like,
Right.
Well, swap it.
yeah.
Is he gonna slap you, and that's totally fine?
Yeah,
Right.
dude. I mean, bro. In the Bible, it's black and white, right? Do unto others as you wish they would do to you. Like treat, like it's pretty simple. like but also understanding in marriage, it's that mutual line of mutual respect. Oh, and also here, I'm going to give, this is like an moment, okay? Like, bro, if you want probably one of the best advice that honestly helped our marriage so much, and I had to fight for this, okay, was obviously having God number one. I'm going to repeat that again, because that's it, okay? But second, this helped out so much, was starting a relationship and letting people be wrong.
Like letting me be wrong, letting you be wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, gosh, dude. That was huge. That was so huge. But I had to do that first alone for a while before I feel like you kind of jumped in. Uh-huh. We kind of talked about that. Does that make sense? Like, I was wrong before you for so long before I finally felt like you started saying it.
Saying what? That I was wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But by yourself. Not being like, hey, babe, like, kind of hinting at it. Like, wasn't that weird? We got in a fight and, like, you kind of did something that was kind of like, ugh. You remember that? Do you have anything to say now? Like, where Gaby would just come up and like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, even earlier today, I feel like, or yesterday, definitely one of those 2 days, there was a moment where I came up to him and was like, hey, babe, I'm sorry. Oh, it was today. I remember. You told me something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm changing up too much.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it was sincerity. Here's the difference, right? Because you could already be doing that in your marriage, but if it's just to create peace, not to create growth, those are two totally different things.
Also, like I said, I can't take David for what he says. He needs to show me. So, if he's apologizing, but his actions aren't changing, okay, whatever. He's not really sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But having that in a relationship is so huge, man. It's so huge. And it's also to just kind of declare it, man. That's such a basic part of our faith, is the humility to be wrong. And so if you're actually going to proclaim like a godly relationship, that's one of the fruits, is like that humility of heart, is that humbleness.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that I would say, right? And I just kind of want to say, like, well, my partner doesn't do that, or there's no way they would ever admit that they're wrong. Why are you making it about them? Why are you making it about them? It's you first. Especially if you're a man, it's you first. You got to clear the path for them to eventually walk on.
And not only would David come and like say if he was wrong in this sense and obviously change the behavior, but he would even like, we would be talking and he'd be like, if I'm wrong, tell me, please. Like he would ask, he's like, here's a scenario. I feel like I'm right, but am I missing something? And he would play it out and be like, tell me. And like, so he would like open it up and invite me.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me all these things, right? Like, you didn't tell me if you didn't create the space to tell.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would genuinely take it back and not take it personal. That's one of the things to understand, that you are this incredible creature to God, but you're probably going to be wrong, and that's okay. Being wrong just allows you to correct what you need to eventually be right. That's it. It's not personal. It's not this, your value isn't diminished. It's you just getting back on the right path. Don't take this personal.
And it makes it easier because David had went through this journey for so long and on his own. So, like, if I'm in a sense of where, like, I need to work on that. Like, it's still a conflict within myself for me to be like, I was wrong and drop it. So I would be, like, fighting. And, like, David has to, like, come to me, like, it's okay. Like, and it's just, like, I think I need that. Like, it's okay if I am wrong. It's not, like, an attack of, you're wrong. Because I still need that, because I'll still fight it.
Yeah, and at the core of it, not to even like throw you on it, because I had to deal with this monster, right? The monster is pride.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It's pride, dude.
Yeah.
Pride is the monster that you got to go in there and slay when you choose to take that path.
Your journey helps your partner.
And pride is personal. That, you know what that face looked like? It looks like you. It's a big old beefed up gorilla, bro, but it has your face on it, and you got to slay it. That's what humility looks like.
Would you say your journey helps your partner?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I told you, dude. She's always just like sneaks in there.
She did. And you were talking, and I was like, I cannot forget that.
I kind of forgot I said that.
No, I know. And I was like, wait a second. I was letting you speak, and I was like,
Your journey
no, we're not.
Your own journey helps your partner.
So it's just but yeah, just that breeding that in the relationship is such a big part, I feel like, of having a good, successful relationship, of just like creating a space. And I've told you personally, I feel like great leaders, what they do is they create a space for those around them to fail, that helps them get back up. That's what great leadership does. It gives them the faith and the confidence to go out there and still be wrong, but make it right.
So you reframe that, right? Great spouses.
Yes, and specifically great men. Great men create a space and environment that their family feel like, Dad's got this, my husband's got this. It's okay. He's not gonna make it worse. See, when, and a lot of times too, it's correcting. It's not personal. See, when I come after, right? But when me and Gaby have a discussion, I feel like she did something wrong. I don't make it personal. And I'm gonna say this as a guy to guy. Let me help you, okay? Because it took me a long time to figure this language out. I had to come in like I was trying to talk to a deer or a bunny. No, for reals.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And that was a skill I didn't have. That's why when God...
You had to come in like you were talking to a deer or a bunny?
Or a bunny. No, seriously.
Like
gentle and slow.
So that's where that soft came.
No, yeah.
I didn't have that skill.
And I know that's hard for him.
Oh, dude.
There's no... He doesn't do anything. Like, it's either 0 or 100.
Yeah.
There's no 50.
No, but with God it was possible.
Right.
That was behind the scenes what God was growing me.
Right.
See, I wanted this marriage, but I didn't have the equipment yet to create that marriage. I didn't have to even maintain that marriage. Even if he would have gave it to me, like, I fixed her, I would have broke her again.
Right. I would have broke her again.
Because I didn't know how to maintain that garden. Even if I would have gave it to you, you would have broke it. So I need to teach you how to get it so that way you know how to maintain it. That was that journey, that personal journey. So again, I want to make sure for guys, especially with your family, right? With your sons, daughters, whoever you have. And men, boys, you can be a little bit different, but it's still, okay? Especially with your wife, though, okay? You're talking to a deer. You're talking to a bunny. And it took me a long time to get it because I was still like the Three Little Bears, bro. Like
too hot, too cold.
I thought I was getting it right, but so many times God's like, nope. It's the correction of the heart. See, the action could be right, but if the heart's not in the right place, you're wrong. You're wrong. And that's what so many times God would correct me. Like there were so many times. This made me so mad, bro. I'm gonna be real. So many times where I'd go in to correct Gaby or point something out. I'm like, hey, but and it wasn't all the time. It wasn't like this nitpicking.
No.
It didn't have to be. It was just like, hey, babe, yesterday when you talked to the kids, like...
You're a little harsh.
You were a little harsh. You know, it was like stuff like that. Okay? But it was so many times, dude. Oh, bro. I'd go in to correct Gaby, and then afterwards, God's like, you were too harsh with her. Hypocrite. And I'm like, you want me to...
Judas!
I went in there to correct, and now you want me to go apologize?
Judas!
Yep. And you know what? But you know what the irony of the whole situation was? God was giving me an opportunity to go be a leader and show her what that path looked like again. Look, she needs a reminder, go do it. Without realizing it. So I'd go in and be like, hey, babe. And sometimes I take a deep breath.
Yeah, you do that, yeah.
I messed up. I'm sorry. God, I feel like God's putting it in my heart right now to let you know that I was too harsh. That my actions were right, but my heart was wrong. And so I'm sorry. I didn't speak in love. I was too harsh with you. I'm sorry about that. And she'd go like this. Still not apologizing to me yet, by the way. I want to not to throw you under the bus, but I'm going to get at least one bump in. Okay? She was like still processing what I said.
Yeah.
I'd go out in the room 5-10 minutes later.
It was quick, yeah.
It was no apology yet, but I'm going back in now to apologize. And be like, hey, babe, I'm sorry. And she'd go, oh, it's okay. And I'd go,
that's it.
Nothing on your part, though. And God's like, don't make it about that. Don't. I'm like, just leaving the room, bro.
Anything else?
Just like even more in prayer, like, please, Lord, take this away from me.
He's walking out. What was that? Oh, okay.
Nothing. No, bro. No, for real. Oh, why would you say that? That's so true.
She's like, you would say that? He'd walk out. She's like, what was that?
And I was like, did you say something?
Yeah.
She's like, no. No, we're good. Okay. All right. You sure?
And then you good?
Sure. I'm going to the store. You need anything?
No.
Yep. Okay. Still nothing. Okay. And Gabby just the whole time. La 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 la.
Deer and bunny.
I got my lettuce. Just kidding.
No, but that's what that was. It was. Sometimes you're just bleeding out energy when you really need to be focusing on just what God's calling you to do. You're just like giving it away. And God's like, no. I want you to dial in and focus on this. But God, I want this, this, and this. He's like, I know. And I'm going to get you all those things. But we're going to take a different path than what you think. And I can't tell you how many times that's been the case.
Sometimes that path feels backwards.
Right. And so to bring it full circle, right? That's why it's so dangerous when it's happy wife, happy life. Because that's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to do things together. But not someone overpower. Even when it comes to the husband. See, that's not what we want. We don't want... It's like, ladies, you need to take a step back and give this authority to men because that's their role. Nah. Because also, if it's a man of God, he's gonna have a humble heart. He's gonna have the fruit. And so, to men specifically, this sounds so complicated. There's so many angles. Yes, but the answer is very simple. Get your relationship right, and God will get everything else right before you. Don't make this complicated.
I feel like that's also like a word for women as well, for them to get their relationship right with God as well. Because you can't be patient with your husband. You can't be loving towards him without that. Or it's very difficult.
Yeah. And before I even knew, right before I was even going on my journey, you were telling me that you were praying for me.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Because I think it's easy, right, in your shoes to be like, well, you're never home, and now you're still never home, right? You're going away, and, now it's like, hey, I remember being in those situations, right, where...
You're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you
literally.
do, almost, yeah.
Like, I and that's what it was, man. Like, my heart, like, I feel like the intention was there a little bit, right? But it was just like... Now I'm away, right? Now I'm gone at church.
But here's the thing, though. Okay.
So I feel like I appreciate what you said, right? That patience, right? That because it's as much as what God was doing in you, right? I feel like he was definitely doing something in you as well.
Well, what's funny is that you say that is because I started going to church without David. I didn't even pressure him. I just said, I want to go to church. And he's like, well, I got to work. I was like, okay, well, I'm going then.
And that's huge because I know so many people, right? And it's exactly in that situation. Okay, well, okay. You want to go to church? No, I have to work or...
Yeah, something.
And then you don't go.
Yeah, and Gaby just made that happen. Like,
right.
Actually, Gabe told me that. Because I gave him back the thingy, and he was like, oh, I didn't expect anyone to be here because you guys were at your little conference thingy.
You're like, well.
And I was like, well,
I'm a strong, independent woman. I need Gaby, chill.
Stop.
I don't need no man.
She never says that.
Mom.
No, she never said. Can I tell you how?
said.
Here's the thing, dude. Like, that heart, like, not to change the subject so quick, but that heart really what it does is it teaches you never to appreciate no man. So because you don't know how to appreciate no man, you can keep no man. Because appreciating is the food that a good man's gonna want to eat.
It's not, and and people take it so wrong way. They take it in the sense of they're not capable.
Right.
No, there's single mothers out there. There's widows out there.
Right.
Like, you get put in these positions sometimes that you can't help. But if you're in this, you can't have that mentality because then you're not even looking for your blessings.
Right. Yeah, I knew that was going to come in handy. We'll find a way to integrate the other ones.
We'll get some
too.
more ones.
Don't worry about
some
it.
different ones, too. That was nice, though. I mean, is there anything else to this? I think we kind of cleaned it up nicely with a bow. Austin, you got anything?
No.
Gaby? Okay. Well, I just want to appreciate everyone who's been watching. I know this has been a difficult subject, but I think there's a lot of grace involved. There was a lot of... It's so funny, right? Because I think the title, it's like we're going to attack someone. It's like, we're going to talk to the person that you don't think so. It's like...
Right.
Because the irony of the situation, it's like, oh, women need to take a step back. It's like, no. Men just need to step up.
Yeah.
Right.
Because when that happens, everything else does. And it's so funny because the step up is just like, hey, dude, just get this relationship right. Because God will take care of everything else. And here's the one thing I want to tell, and this is a big shout out to other men. Bro, I remember one of the walks, and I think I told you about this. We were friends during that time. I'm pretty sure I told you. I was like in a spiral when I heard this. And it was like like a year or two after I was like on this journey with God, and I was just being honest, and I was like sharing what's on my heart, and I told him, I was like, God, it's been such a trip, like getting my relationship with you again. It's been messing me up. And I just had a moment of honesty where I was like, because everything this world's been teaching me feels like it's now a lie.
Right.
And I think I even told you, like I was like spiraled, like when I was in this, and then I just heard his like presence, dude, his voice come over and say, yes, who does this world belong to? And I was like, it's not yours anymore. It's of the enemy. It's not you. So if the enemy's been trying to teach you something, it's been trying to teach you something that would keep you away from me. And so for men out there that are feeling like you have to do it alone, that's not biblical and that's not of God. That's literally the enemy just trying to keep you away by giving you false teaching, so that way your pride and ego tell you, no, go out there and prove you can do this by yourself. You ever think you can impress God? He wants you to do it with him. Who lied to you? What do you think there's a different trophy out there he's going to give you for doing it by yourself? It's like, wow, I'm really impressed. Like, it's like, no, this whole thing that I did was for relationship with you.
Right.
Like, I created the heavens, I created the earth, I created everything. Like, you know, like, the relationship is the goal. So for men out there who are struggling or feeling like they have to do it alone, dude, it's not the way. Get that right. And physical instructions, right? Helpful, like, directions. Block off time. That's where it started for me. I started by like, all right, God, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go to the park. For me, that's what it was. I take my Bible and I just go sit alone and be away from everyone. Process my thoughts, process in prayer, and just get in my word. And then helpful tip. It took me so long to get this, but pray for a moldable heart. Go spend time with God, block it off, and pray for a moldable heart. That's dangerous, dude. That formula right there, that will rock you. And that's what ended up happening. So don't stress out.
And also, like you said, with boundaries as well. Like you said, you would go to the park. I feel like in the beginning, you're like, I'm going to go to the park in the morning. And either I actually said it or I at least thought it of like, okay, can we come? Well, we go to the park, I'll bring the kids. You go do your thing and I'll just hang out with the kids. And it's like having the respect for my husband that he not only needed, I didn't know he needed it, but that he wanted this alone time, and him coming to me be like, I need this to be alone, but if you want to go to the park with the kids later, we can make that happen later. And that's what it was.
Sometimes I come right from the park to pick them up to take them to the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was so black and white, like, God, this is you time.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is you time, God, and eating Jack in the Box egg rolls time. You know, like, this is you time and doing some extra homework.
Starbucks.
You know.
Danish.
This is me and you time.
I've never had those, but that sounds really good.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
About to get that.
This is a chalupa and Jesus time.
Yeah.
Like, nah, dude, it's just God time. That's just him. Clear the path because he's going to show up. And that's what faith looks like. Clear the path and he's going to show up. But oftentimes we always talk about that in the podcast, right? You do these drive-by prayers, like Jesus, da 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 da, boom, just take off, and Jesus, like, what did you even say? Like, are you even gonna stick around for the answer? That always makes me laugh, dude. We talk about that all the time, but it's just like, God, do all these things. Okay, bye. Like, oh Lord, what do you want me to be with her or not? In Jesus' name, amen. All right, I have a 5 o'clock I need to get to.
Oh, you're about to go be with her. She's like, oh, I gotta go pick her up. She's waiting outside.
Like, you're not even gonna give me time to answer that? Like, Dave, but why'd you say it like that? That's funny, bro. Be with her.
I mean, I've been there.
It's really good, dude.
I've been there.
Yeah, I've been there.
Like,
Jesus, let me know if she's the one. And 1.1 seconds, and done. Okay, she's the one. Let's go.
Call in and it's like,
I got affirmation.
affirmation.
No, you're all positive. Like, is she the one? Oh, she's calling. She's the one. Hello.
Right.
Thank you. Man, you answered prayers even without the amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for that, God. All right. Hey, Pep, what's up? No, I just pray. Yeah, we're forever. Forever, ever. So we done for that Jesus and Chalupa time or what? But I just want to encourage. It sounds so complicated, and if that's the case, you're probably looking at 50 different things when you just need to look at one. Focus on your relationship with God. Make that time with Him. He's going to restore all things. Mm-hmm. Make it that simple. Thank everyone for watching.
Thank you,
We
Gaby.
don't really have a clean outro. We need to get one. Pops, Schmickly do, and Jesus to you. That's it.
That was good, but I don't know if you can recreate that. I feel like that was like a random splurt, but yeah, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Check us out, TikTok. TikTok will be listed on the bottom.
Yes.
Subscribe, like,
yeah, and
hit
please
that
share.
bell.
If this inspires you to share it to someone else, a believer out there who could probably take it. We really want to be committed to the podcast, making weekly videos, and we have other great topics like this that
Share, comment.
we're gonna be talking about some real issues that are happening in the world, but hopefully with all our grace and just God's love poured all over it. So, and as always, thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.